Hey guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today I'm doing Comic Uno episode 107. And this is a show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show, and this is one of the shortest weeks in a really long time. Even for a fifth week in the month, this is very short. I only have 10 comics, so we're going worst pick of the week to best pick of the week, and let's get started. So what is worst pick of the week this week? And that is The Flash Annual, issue 4. I am officially done with The Flash. If you checked out Comic Uno episode last week, I said I'm going to give the annual a try and see where it goes. But honestly, I just have not been enjoying the series for a really long time, since Vendetti kind of jumped onto the series. So, this issue, we learn more about Zoom and his posse, his group. And honestly, his group is really two-dimensional, and they spend the whole issue trying to make you like this group, or to show how twisted Zoom is and how he'll manipulate people, which we kind of already knew that. But that's the whole issue. It kind of just felt generic. The characters were very two-note, two-dimensional characters, and that's it, honestly. It's a issue you really don't have to read. I'm sure they can sum it up in 2 pages next issue, but I won't know because I will be dropping this series. I personally don't really like the artwork too much. I think it's a bit too anime for my liking. It's just not my style of artwork. And also just the story really dragged. It's not worth $4.99, and I'm just not liking The Flash as much as I used to. And I hope it gets better, but as of right now, I'm dropping it and taking a break with The Flash, which is a shame because I like Barry Allen as a character and I'm loving the TV show, but I just can't read this one. So, Flash Annual issue 4, I've given this enough of a try. I'm going to be dropping Flash. And number 10, 2 stars for Flash Annual. Moving on to number 9, which is Scarlet Cotoure issue 4. I really like the first issue of Scarlet Cotoure. I like the originality of it. I kind of like the spy-ness of it. It's like totally spies for adults. That's exactly how it feels. But I feel that the series kind of got generic along the way. A lot of like spy talk that I didn't think they needed. And by the end it ends on a cliffhanger, but I was like, oh, if there was another series, I don't think I would pick it up. I think it dragged a bit too much, and they could have done more with the main character. She was a spy who was also head of security of this like big fashion industry. I think they could have worked that in more. But one thing I did like about the series a lot is the unique artwork. I think it worked really well with the title, but they just could have done a lot more with the characters, and honestly a lot more with the plot too. So I was just disappointing with a series that I thought had a lot of potential. So Scarlet Cotoure issue 4 from Titan Comics gets 2.5 stars. I don't recommend the miniseries. Maybe try out the first issue because I thought that was original. Alright, moving on to number 8, which is Copperhead, issue 9. I'm disappointed this is so low. I read this in trade, actually, and I love the trade, and I think I'm realizing this is probably a better trade read than single issue read. I just thought this issue was a bit on the slower side. It's not a bad issue. This actually got 3.5 stars, so we're getting to more of the middle of the list already. It's number 8, and we're already on to the middle of the list. But technically, I guess the more average books. But yeah, you know, I like the idea of learning more about these aliens or creatures that were made for war and how they're different from the humans. And we have our sheriff and them working together to try to save Boo. And it's a fun adventure book. It has good action. Like I said, it had good development on that part, but it's a bit on the slower side. I kind of want to see a bit more with this issue, but the artwork is still beautiful. Really, really like this unique world that Faber has created. But I just thought this was a bit more of a slower issue. But still a very interesting series. I just think it might be a better trade read. So Copperhead issue 9 gets 3.5 stars. That's number 8. Moving on to number 7, which is S.H.I.E.L.D. issue 8. A bit lower than I expected. I thought that I would like this a lot more. But we get to see that Mockingbird is in this issue, which I love. Now, one thing I love about this series is that how they mix the 616 universe with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. / MCU universe, which pretty much means universe, so just the MCU. I like how they mix that around and how Mark Waid's able to balance what these characters have gone through in the comics, but still make it recognizable for the people that only watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And they do that really well with Mockingbird. Of course, she has a past in the Marvel Universe. She's been around for a really long time. And she's been doing the spy thing for a really long time, but I think it's still recognizable for the S.H.I.E.L.D. audience, the TV show audience. She's still similar to her character, but doesn't lose the essence of what her character is. Now, the thing I didn't love about this issue is that I thought they could have utilized Agent May and Mockingbird's chemistry a bit more. I thought they could have had a little bit more back and forth, some more character moments here, like they did with the Quake issue, which I really liked. That they connected with the character from the comic, but also made it that way S.H.I.E.L.D. Audiences understand the character. Also, I thought this plot was kind of on the generic side. I wasn't so interested in it. It was these people getting mutated, adding wings, adding teeth, so I didn't love that plot line. But overall, I thought it was an okay issue. The artwork is really well done. I like the action, but I thought the story and the character moments could have been a little bit better. But still, I think it's worth picking up if you like Mockingbird and you've been enjoying this series. So 3.5 stars for S.H.I.E.L.D. Moving on to number 6, which is Tales of Terror issue 13, which is actually the last issue of Tales of Terror until October, so we just have a little bit of break. And I like Tales of Terror overall. It's an anthology series, and I'm usually not a big fan of anthology series, but it works well here. This issue is about this kind of assassin person, so it's a twist that this girl's an assassin, and then, you know, she has her last job, she wants some money, and she ends up getting shot to death. So there's a lot of nice little twists and turns here, really good artwork, and I thought it was a fun issue overall. It's not the best Tales of Terror story, but I thought it ended on a pretty good note, and I'm excited to pick up Volume 2, and I think it's Halloween they're going to have their Volume 2. So I'll give this 3.5 stars. Not the best issue, but it's still pretty fun, and I think it's worth picking up if you've been enjoying the anthology series. So moving on to number 5, which is Daredevil issue 17. This issue is also kind of on the lacking side. I'm not a big fan of this whole I have a suit type thing now, Daredevil arc. And it's getting towards the end, but if you like the TV show Daredevil, I feel like you'll like this issue, because I think Kingpin is very much written in the way that, hey, if you've seen the TV show, you'll remember this. So I enjoyed that part, those portions of it. It's very much like the TV show, at least the interaction between Matt and the Kingpin. And then Julia was really badass here. She's only in a few panels, but there's a moment in this issue where she's taken hostage, and she's like, I'm not gonna be a hostage, I was Spider-Woman for God's sake, and just kicks the Owl's daughter's ass. So I enjoyed that. I'm glad just to see Julia Carpenter, because we haven't seen her character in a while, so it's great seeing her. And then, of course, you know, having Matt see his friends in danger, and hopefully he doesn't decide, oh, I need to change my life and not have my friends in danger. I hate that. I gotta go alone. Hopefully they don't do that cliche. But yeah, it was an okay issue. I'm still, again, not liking this whole new fashion for him, but at least he totally rips it off in this issue. And it has good artwork, but I'm just not enjoying the Owl that much. I'm not enjoying the villains and their connection to it all. But it was a cool ending that, you know, Matt's kind of in despair and he doesn't really know what to do next. So it was, you know, okay book, good artwork. Not the best Daredevil issue, but it moves things along. So Daredevil issue 17 gets 3.5 stars. Moving on to number 4. Now we're getting to the solid books, and that is Deathstroke Annual issue 1. I was pleasantly surprised with this, even though it's a change of artist, because obviously Tony S. Daniel had a lot of work this month, because he had an annual and he had to do a regular issue where he's drawing and writing it, so I totally understand why they had changed artists. And one thing I like is that the artwork, or at least the art style, is pretty similar to Tony S. Daniel style of artwork. I will say that. So it's not as great, but that's also because you're comparing it to Tony S. Daniel. It's still very detailed art, and I do like it. And I like the coloring fits a lot of Daniel's style, so pretty good substitute for the artwork. And the story was pretty good too. I have been saying I feel like Wonder Woman's only pushed in this because of her name, but I thought they utilized her really well here. It's kind of digging deep into both their characters. Like if you're reading the Finch's run on Wonder Woman, I think you'll really like this issue because it digs deep on, well, what am I? Am I Diana or am I the God of War? And then it digs deep onto, if you've been reading Deathstroke, which I'm sure you have if you're picking up the annual, it digs deep into the whole story with Rose and Jericho and Slade being sorry that he kind of screwed up their lives. So I guess he's trying to be a better father. So I enjoyed those parts a lot here. And again, the action was pretty good, and I like that it was just more of an analysis on these two characters. Now, I will say, I do think the plot needs to be a bit better. It needs to progress a bit more with this whole let's defeat a god thing, but I think it's been working a bit more than what I thought it was in the beginning, where I'm like, oh, they're just sticking Wonder Woman here just to stick Wonder Woman. But I do think Deathstroke in general needs a bigger plot. I hope he gets his own plot, and I honestly hope it has to do with the family. I think that's where the series is at its best, is when they use Rose and Jericho. So Deathstroke issue 1, I thought was a very solid issue, and definitely one of the better Deathstroke's issues, even though the artwork is obviously really amazing in the other issues. I thought this was a good substitute to Tony S. Daniel's artwork. So good, solid story. I think it's worth the annual, even though it does continue at the annual, which usually that doesn't happen. But hopefully there's a good issue next week where it doesn't just do the same thing. Hopefully they're ending it, because I do think this is becoming a bit of a prolonged arc. And usually they end it at annuals or start a story at annuals. They're just kind of continuing it with this annual, so I thought that was a bit different. So 4 stars for Deathstroke. Alright, now we're moving on to top 3. We're going number 3. Number 3 is Batgirl, issue 42. I thought this was a very fun issue. I actually expected this to be number 1. I thought this was going to be pick of the week, but it didn't make it. But still a very solid issue. And, you know, things I enjoyed, of course, seeing Barbara and her father team up was a lot of fun, and I love that she's a veteran. She is a veteran hero, and they don't forget that here, even though she kind of looks younger. Her outfit kind of looks like more of a rookie hero. She's not, and they prove that. She's smart, and she can, you know, lead her father in the right direction. My disappointment with this issue, though, is that Jim Gordon doesn't find out. You know, a lot of the story that was building up in issue 41 doesn't really get resolved here. You know, I didn't really see the guilt from Barbara's, like, oh, wait, he told me he was Batman. I should tell him that I'm Batgirl. There's not that guilt here. And I was a bit disappointed that they didn't deal with that. I thought they did that really well in issue 41. But the team up was really well done. The artwork is really cool. I really like Thors' artwork. I think it fits very well here. The action's well done, and Livewire is just a really cool villain for this arc. I thought it worked well for the story that they were telling. And again, Livewire, the way they did it was very internet age type thing, and it fits the series very well. So I liked her new origins for this. And one thing I also love about this, and that they're continuing this, is Frankie's role. I really like that she's pretty much Oracle for Oracle, you know, because Barbara Gordon was Oracle. So I've been liking that friendship a lot, too. And then there's a good cliffhanger that actually is from Gail Simone's run, which is with Alyssa. She's getting married, so that was a really good cliffhanger there. So I enjoyed that. So Batgirl issue 42 gets 4 stars. I thought it was a solid issue. Still disappointed that Jim Gordon doesn't know, but still a very good team up, and there's some good revelations here. Alright, moving on to number 2, which is Batgirl Annual, issue 3. Yes, another Batgirl issue, because there was a lot of Batgirl this week. I really enjoyed this. I'm not going to go story by story like I did in my in-depth review, but overall I enjoyed pretty much every story. Let me just give my disappointments first, and then I'll give my favorite stuff. Disappointment part is that Dick Grayson and Barbara actually don't interact here. It's definitely a game of cat and mouse. And I thought they kind of made Barbara play dumb in a way that it was so many close calls that Dick Grayson should have revealed himself. And I thought they could have done the revelation of like, oh wait, you're not dead. Because they're going to have to do that one day. And I thought the annual would have been the perfect place, but they didn't end up doing that. Another disappointment, I would say the Batwoman story was lacking a bit in this issue, but those are only disappointments. Everything else is really well done. And even the Dick Grayson story, I had fun with it. And the action is really good for the Dick Grayson story. If you like action, I thought it was action-packed, and I really liked the different ways they did the action. So great. Great action from both Helena and Batgirl. Really, again, action-packed first story. The second story with Stephanie had to be my favorite, though. Stephanie is now training with some random person in Catwoman, and we get to see the interaction with Stephanie and Barbara. If you read Brian Q. Miller's run, you know how important this is, because Barbara pretty much trained Stephanie to become Batgirl. So that interaction was so fun. And Barbara, like, kind of proving her point is like, yeah, you kind of suck as a hero right now, but I'm gonna help you. You know, she didn't play like, oh, well, I'm so much better than you. She's trying to help Stephanie become a better hero. And it's just a really, really cool interaction. And especially if you read Brian Q. Miller's run and love Stephanie's character as much as I do, it's just a great story. So that was my favorite out of the whole issue. Again, the Batwoman story could have been a little bit better. And then Gotham Academy, if you're reading Gotham Academy, I think you'll really like it. It's the same writer, I think, is writing Gotham Academy. The same creative team, except so same writers are writing Gotham Academy. And I have not caught up with Gotham Academy, but I'm going to very soon, so I think I'm going to understand the story a bit more. But I really like the maps in this issue, especially in the beginning, where Map's like, you know you're Batgirl, right? And Olive says, well, I think she knows she's Batgirl. So I really like Maps being so enthusiastic in this issue. But yeah, favorites probably being the Dick Grayson story and Stephanie's story, just because I have more connections to those characters. But finally, Batgirl, like, actually does stuff with the Bat family. Honestly, just the Bat titles doing stuff with the Bat family. That's usually my favorite stuff, is when we get to see the Bat family interact. That's why I really like Batman Eternal a lot, and even Death of the Family. I don't think this family interacts enough with each other, and they have such an interesting relationship. So I like that they were able to explore all Batgirl's relationships with the Bat family. So, really cool issue. 4 stars. That was number 2. Moving on to number 1. What made number 1? What is my pick of the week? And that is Thors issue 2. I really like this issue. Now, why I love this issue is because I really shouldn't like this issue. I'm usually not a procedural fan, and I'm usually not a Thor fan. And Jason Aaron somehow made me love this story. It's the mystery of finding out who killed all these Jane Fosters, and if there is a Jane Foster left. So it's that mystery, and also a great interaction between Ultimate Thor and regular Thor, 616 Thor. And the inner monologue is so well done, of especially that beginning of kind of just being a cop, but being a Thor cop, and saying, you know, what the worst is seeing your partner die. And I really, really enjoyed that monologue. Ultimate Thor has just been a really cool main character. Only disappointment is that I actually want to see Jane here. I'm just worried that Jason Aaron's going to kind of prolong that and be like, alright, like, I'm ready to see Jane, come on. I hope he doesn't prolong the mystery like he did in the other Thor series. They kind of prolonged the mystery of who the new Thor was. But really, this issue's so well done. Love the artwork, love the action. Just really, really well done series. So Thors issue 2 gets my pick of the week, and I'm really excited to read more of this miniseries and more of issue 3. I can't wait for issue 3. But hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what was your worst pick of the week and your pick of the week and everything in between. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, in the description below, there's links from my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later. Bye.